Now that so many people who are getting verified should not be verified, I'm thinking we put the official badge underneath their name. That way people can still feel special and have the clout that they want while still paying us for Twitter Blue. No, Elon, I don't think you get it. I think people want to live in a virtual world where anything is possible and everyone looks like Nintendo Mii characters. Why don't we all just set our noses on fire and put shoes on our heads? What the heck are you talking about? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were just listing dumb ideas. Are you guys developing social medias? Well, you see, Drew, the metaverse is gonna be so much more than social media. It will be our life. This is what we will merge with. Mark, that is, not true. I think that Twitter is the future. Digital, down square, no bots, free speech, beautiful, verification, $8 a month. No, Elon, I think the future is gonna be buying artwork within our metaverse that we get 48% a cut on, that we don't actually have to make because they're all just digital media. But, okay, I've already ranted about Elon, so I'm gonna take Mark today because I can only handle one moron at a time. Drew, are you trying to say that the metaverse is stupid? Absolutely, let's begin. These hype words are starting to drive me nuts. It's kind of like AI and 5G and Metaverse all being associated with this futuristic technology that we're all eventually going towards, but it's clearly not going too well for Meta, who I have so many issues with it's hard to begin, whether it's buying out their competition, not having very many original ideas, going back on promises after they acquired Oculus, and I mostly think Mark Zuckerberg basically just got lucky with Facebook, and that became such a cash cow that now he's using it to fund all of these different avenues and different things that he thinks are going to pay off when clearly they really aren't. There are very few people actually interested or signing up for the metaverse despite them pouring literally billions and billions of dollars into this service, which the hilarious thing about it is it looks pretty crap. It has graphics that are probably worse than many PlayStation 2 titles, and the motion tracking is bad. Like, none of the billion-dollar resources are really showing in the end product. So that's one issue I have with them, but I take more issue with the fundamental concept. When I try to look up what is the metaverse, it's basically just a virtual second life. It reminds me of Dwight on The Office, who wanted to tune out what was going on around him, so he had these basically little Sims games where you got to do whatever you want. You can have a virtual house and a virtual job, and I guess Meta is typically always pushing the metaverse as this alternative to corporate boardroom meetings, which makes no sense in my mind, but it makes complete sense, I'm sure, in Zuck's mind, because to him, that's what, like, business is. It's not talking with people on a group chat or, you know, trying to sell people on a product, because clearly they're not very good at that. No, what Mark is used to in the business world is talking with lots of high-up executives at boardroom meetings, and everyone's sitting around a big table and pointing towards a TV screen. So in his mind, he's like, this is business, and we could have more business with so much more people if we had the metaverse, because now we just sell our very affordable $1,500 headset to everybody, and now it will track their facial emotions, and you can have boardroom meetings with people anywhere in the world. And in those boardroom meetings, you can dress the way you want, you can pretend you don't have legs, or you can have legs, whatever you feel like. And based on the way he's talked about it in podcasts and interviews and stuff, he describes it as he's trying to not build technology that we're interested in. He wants to focus on the social side of human interaction, which is great because he looks clearly like a guy who understands human behavior. So he's pitched the idea that, you know, just having a Zoom group call is not the same thing as an in-person board meeting, because sometimes at these board meetings, which I'm sure he's in 24 hours a day, you're able to, like, have a little side conversation. You're able to lean over to the chair and whisper to Meredith and say, I think the guy making this presentation doesn't make any sense. And she goes, I'm your boss, you're gonna get fired if you keep saying stuff like that. So Zuckerberg knows you can't have those little side human moments where you pick up on emotion in eyes that I'm sure we'll pick up on in our Pixar Disney characters of ourselves. But Zuck is probably so busy talking in all of these meetings that he doesn't understand when you do, like, video group calls, if you want to have a little side conversation, you can just direct message that person. It's not that complicated if you want to have a little side conversation, and most people hate corporate boardroom meetings anyway, and that's kind of the general consensus in the business world is you could just send emails. I mean, Elon even didn't want to hold personal meetings to fire people. He just sent out a mass email to like thousands that said, sorry, I guess we don't want you anymore because you didn't write enough lines of code. Maybe that would have been handled better in person. But ultimately, I think the metaverse is a solution trying to find a problem, and that problem doesn't quite exist. When there's businesses that need to do things in person, it's typically because there's a certain product or engineering that needs to take place that you can't necessarily do virtually. And I'm sorry, AR and the Meta Quest is not going to change that. And this is why I've never been that big a fan of virtual reality. I've ranted about it for years, and I'll probably continue ranting because there's two major issues that prevent it from becoming that immersive, and it essentially dumbs down to, okay, we don't really need to strap displays to our faces to experience what we're trying to experience virtually, because anytime you try to fix these two problems with VR or mixed reality, it makes the system more complicated, it makes it more expensive, and it makes it less intuitive, which is physical contact in motion. In the real world, we can walk around, we can move side to side. If you try to do that in the metaverse, you're probably gonna run into a wall, or because the virtual world is virtual and it's not actually going to stop you if you decide, I want to walk through this wall or walk through this window, you have to basically move around with joysticks, in which case, is it really that immersive if you don't have to use legs anymore and you can really only stand at one place of the living room, one place of your office? Otherwise, you might run into something and you gotta be careful about what happens there. Same thing with physical contact. If you're doing work on a physical product or trying to showcase something in the virtual world, your hands, your arms won't stop when you grab something. You can reach through tables, you can reach through people, you can't smack people on the head when they annoy you, because physical contact in motion is always going to be this limiting factor when trying to do things virtual. I think there's just a few too many people that saw Ready Player One and were convinced that's what the future is going to be like, when in reality, I thought that was a pretty lousy movie, much better book, but the practicality of expecting everyone to buy these unified directional treadmills that we run on, or buying gloves that stop your hand from being able to clench when you want to pick up something in the virtual world, that's what's ultimately going to prevent these metaverses from becoming that immersive in the first place, in which case, if you don't need to walk around in this virtual environment and they're designed in ways that you don't have to worry about physical contact in motion, then why do you need to worry about covering up your eyes with monitors? I think Mark made a big bet on this being the future, and he's trying to find use cases for it. I do think there's a lot more use cases for augmented reality, but that's not really what the metaverse is pitching itself as. You know, probably the most useful thing I could come up with the Meta Quest Pro is, you know, you put on this giant, bulky, expensive thing over your head with not that great a battery life, and you've got external monitors around your laptop. So I guess if you want to go to a coffee shop and look like an idiot, you can have external monitors, which doesn't cover much of your peripherals, and the resolution and refresh rate of those external monitors is not going to be very good. But hey, I guess that's slightly easier than carrying around a big monitor. Most people probably don't mind just using multiple desktops on their laptop display, or, you know, most people are just using their phones nowadays anyway. So I don't think that use case justifies a $1,500 headset, and maybe in the future it'd be more interesting if you could actually make it small, portable, have a longer battery life, and fashionable, and I think that's probably what Apple is waiting for, but everyone keeps hyping this up like it's a next big thing, even though Jaws in the Wall Street interview, when asked, what is the metaverse, he was basically like, it's a word I'll never use, despite all of these rumors and all of these leakers claiming that Apple has a mixed reality headset and it's going into production next year. Even though they said that last year, they said it the year before, and they said it the year before. Yeah, it still never comes, despite everyone saying, oh yeah, $3,000 Apple mixed reality headset with 8K displays, that's in the works. Yeah, no, I think Apple's not going to release it to the public until they actually have something fashionable, something that kind of looks like Tim Cook's glasses. But until then, it's just going to be a giant money pit that Mark loves to throw things down and think that this is where the future is headed. But I've got some news for everybody that thinks that NFTs and crypto are the future, because we need more decentralized currency, right? Except when the centralized currency tanks, the crypto tanks twice as hard and much faster, and the NFT market crumbled faster than Truth Social. But guys, the future is not a Pixar movie. We're not all going to be animated. The reason Meta bought Instagram in the first place is because they found a popular social media site where people are comfortable sending photos of, guess what? The real world. That's why people are obsessed with photography and videography on phones, because they love capturing the beauty of reality, or at least what we think is reality. We're not obsessed with the Sims universe. We're not obsessed with VR chat. I know there's little enthusiast communities that love to buy these headsets. They play Beat Saber for for 20 minutes and then go, hold on a second, is there anything else I can do with this expensive headset? Oh crap, there's not that many games. VR chat, that'll be fun. Just because you're trying to justify the expense doesn't necessarily mean everybody's gonna get on board with it. I still find it particularly niche, and Meta doesn't seem to be very good at figuring out how to make desirable services, considering how they can't maintain people to stay on Facebook, and Instagram basically just starts copying Snapchat features when they want more attention. And really, their biggest, most popular services are just things they bought out, like WhatsApp. That wasn't really their creation. They just didn't want to compete with it, so they said, hey, we got the money, let's just buy them out. But I'm here to tell you guys, it's okay. It's okay that we're not all going to be virtual avatars in the future. It's okay that we're not going to be plugged into the Matrix with these expensive headsets owned by Meta. The real world is cool, and it has some problems, yes, but it's the one that impacts us the most, and that's where people are going to spend most of their time. Even if we love social media for different reasons, delivering information, catching up on news, but it's all how it correlates to the real world, not the virtual one, not the NFT collection you're gonna have in your virtual mansion, or the virtual shoes you're gonna pick out for your next boardroom meeting. It would have been so much more fun if Facebook just kind of stuck to themselves and thought, how can we make this platform better, rather than buy out all of the competition and then hire all these people to work on the metaverse and have it completely flop and no one use it, resulting in Meta now announcing that they're laying off like 11,000 employees. I feel really bad for all those people that probably got excited. They got a big tech company job, and now they're gonna have to find work elsewhere. Some of them are gonna have to move because Mark thought that we were all gonna grow up in an animated universe, and that was gonna be the big monopoly that they had on it. Sorry, Lizard Man. Maybe you should have stuck to just cloning Snapchat features. Maybe that would have paid off more for you. But I'm sure some of you disagree with me in the comments below. That's fine. I don't really care, and I'm not really gonna read much into these comments, but those are my extended thoughts on the metaverse. Thank you for watching. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I'll see you all in the next one.